Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's webinar, Getting Noticed, Writing Job Descriptions to Attract the Right Candidates. My name's Lisa Andrews, and I am the manager of the Career Center here at the CFP Board, and I'd like to welcome all of you. Just a couple of housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded, so if you have a colleague that you know of that wanted to attend but can't, the recording should be available on the website within a week. So if you have to jump off for some reason, rest assured you'll be able to access the recording at a later time. You'll also notice a question and answer box. And so as the presentation progresses, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in, and there will be time at the end of the presentation for question and answer. So whenever you have a question, just go ahead and type that in there, and we will get to the bottom of those at the end of the webinar. So job descriptions. I get a lot of questions about job descriptions from employers, and mainly I get those questions because their job posting isn't doing so well on the Career Center. So I've helped a lot of employers kind of take a look at their job description and kind of rewrite it, reformulate it, so that it's a little bit more attractive to candidates. So hopefully this webinar will help you make sure that your job description is covering all bases and making your job as attractive as possible. Because if you think about it, the job description really is sort of your public face to the job seeker and your opportunity to give them as much information as you possibly can about the job so that they can make an educated decision as to whether or not to apply. So it's really important to have all the elements that you need and have it well worded and complete so that candidates will be attracted to it. So let's go through why a good job description matters. So a good job description should be more than just a laundry list of qualifications. You really want it to kind of be kind of a miniature narrative in a way so that it kind of tells a story of what it is that you're looking for and gives the candidate a really good idea of what to expect. It should give the applicant a sense of the priorities involved. So again, you don't just want, a skills-based job description, but you really want to give them an idea of how they're going to be contributing. It provides a clear picture of the position to potential candidates. So this one's kind of self-explanatory. It's really giving them a good picture of what this position is going to be all about. Because this is really, remember, this is your introduction to them. Later on, it can be a useful tool for measuring performance. So often you'll hire an employee and partway through the job, they may say, can I see a copy of my job description? Because it's not that it's sort of a legally binding document, but in a way it becomes somewhat of a contract between you and the employee. And I have heard some people say, what the job description stated is not really what I'm doing in my job, and that upsets me. So it's important to be consistent from the job description all the way through to what the person's actually going to be doing, and to kind of use that as a tool as you do performance reviews and so on, and make sure that you're being consistent with that job description and make any changes to it that you would work with your HR department to file. It can be a vital reference in the event of a dispute or a disciplinary issue. So you can sort of use this as an employer as a tool and say, if an employee has a dispute with you or they're questioning something you're asking them to do, you can kind of go back to the job description and say, as you can see, this is really what was expected of you in the beginning, so it shouldn't really come as too much of a surprise. Additionally, if there is some kind of disciplinary issue with the employee, you can use the job description as a means to kind of justify what you're trying to get across to them in that sort of disciplinary procedure. It provides a reference point for compensation decisions and unfair hiring practices. So again, I know HR folks use these job descriptions as a tool in their everyday practice. So again, it's just, I can't stress enough the importance of a well-written job description if it could potentially be used in these situations. So what are some of the characteristics of a good job description? The first is that it's practical. So you really want it to kind of be, down to earth and descriptive of exactly what the person's going to be doing. So a very sort of practical job description, down to the point, just the facts, ma'am. Clear and accurate to effectively define your needs. So you want to kind of think to yourself when you're reading your own job description, does this give a clear and accurate picture of what we need in terms of this hiring process? Because don't forget now, when you're hiring to solve a problem. So think about it from that perspective. Is this job description going to help you solve the problem that you're seeking to solve? Does it clearly and accurately state sort of in a way what the problem is? A good job description should also be somewhat flexible. They encourage employees to grow within their position and contribute over time to your overall business. So some people would say this is covered under other duties as assigned. But it can, you can include things in the job description that they may not be doing right away, but they may be doing later on. Again, it's not that it's a legally binding document, but it's a good reference point for both of you. So let's talk about the parts of a job description. You want to make sure, you have all of these pieces when you're putting together your job description. Obviously, you want to have a good and descriptive job title. You want to have a job objective or overall purpose statement. You want to indicate the duties or the summary of the nature and the level of the job. You want to indicate skills and competencies, what skills and competencies the person that you're looking to hire should already possess, and also indicate the broad function and scope of the position. Also, not a lot of people think about this, but a really good job description will indicate, relationships, sort of the key functional and relational responsibilities in order of significance. So who will this person report to, and who will report to them? The job location. And also included in this could be whether the job has a remote capability along with it, or whether it is completely on-site. So job location can indicate geographic territory or, primary office location. And then it can also indicate whether this is a work from home or telework situation. Not a lot of people like to do this, but I really encourage employers to list a salary or a salary range, and I'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. And then a brief statement of benefits. So you don't have to list every single benefit you're going to be offering, but the job description is an ad, so in a way you want to make it competitive. There's going to be other jobs out there of the same or similar titles that employees, potential job seekers are going to be applying for. So to make your job look as attractive as possible, you want to kind of give an indication of the kind of benefits you're going to be offering. So let's talk briefly about job titles and what the guidelines are with those. It should really accurately reflect the nature of the job and the duties being performed. So a person, because the job title is really going to be like the first thing that they see. And it'll be the reason they sort of click on a job. If you look at our job listings, they're listed by job title. So a person just sort of scrolling through is going to have a job in mind, and hopefully that job that's in their mind will be reflected pretty accurately in your job title. It reflects its ranking order with other jobs in the company. So it kind of, in a way, indicates the job level. It does not exaggerate the importance of the role. So if they're not going to be a vice president, then you shouldn't really call it vice president. Additionally, we offer free internships on our site, and occasionally we do get some employers that are listing a position that they think is an internship, but really is more of a semi-professional or an entry-level professional position. So it'd be good to work with me to determine really what the level of that position is so that you're not over-exaggerating what you're advertising for. It's free of any gender or age implications. It's generic enough that it could be compared to similar jobs in the industry for the purposes of equity and pay and conditions. So again, as you can see with job seekers scrolling down with other titles, you want to make sure that you're kind of being consistent as you look at job titles in the industry. It's really self-explanatory for recruitment purposes, and notice that in most online job searches, the job title is the main keyword searched. So an example would be financial planner or a senior wealth manager, indicating level there. One thing we discourage at the Career Center for the CFP Board is to say certified financial planner as a job title. Certified financial planner is not a job title. It's a certification title and indicator. So I discourage everyone from listing certified financial planner or just CFP as a job title, because really that's not a job title. I mean, certainly a CFP has sort of a list of, you could say, expectations or qualities that the job seeker is going to have. But CFP or Certified Financial Planner in and of itself really is not a job title, so we discourage you from using that. So I mentioned earlier the job objective or overall purpose statement, so I wanted to kind of give you an idea of that. And really, as you're looking at this, think of it as kind of a mission statement for the job. You'll see it's kind of a 60,000-foot view of the job. So in this role, you will learn to identify and segregate financial data so as to recognize potential issues and create opportunities. As you build in your knowledge, you will contribute more and more to the plan development, ideally contributing creative, value-add solutions for their financial futures. Working in a team environment pools experience, intellect, and creativity to yield the broadest spectrum of rich results. And again, I can assist you with writing these if you did want to include an objective or a purpose statement in your job description. So duties. And ideally, these are sort of presented as a percentage. For example, customer service, 20%. Really no more than 1 to 2 sentences in length for each duty. And it should be really outcomes-based, containing an action, object, and a purpose. For example, compiles monthly reports to allow monitoring of the department's budget, 10%. That's a really good example of an outcomes-based duty. And then we move to skills and competencies. Now, skills are activities the candidate can perform based on what they've learned in the past or from qualifications they already have obtained. So an example, ability to give effective presentations to groups and individuals. This is a skill they should already possess that you are looking for. Competencies are traits or attributes you expect the candidate to display in the role. For example, strong communication skills. Now, job descriptions are trending towards competency-based job descriptions where employers give extra weight to behavioral competencies such as leadership, teamwork, flexibility, communication, and initiative. So again, remember, I think in one of the very first slides I mentioned that it's really not just a laundry list, but it's very kind of specified and competency-based so that the person knows what you're expecting of them and you're laying out there what you're looking for very specifically. Relationships, I mentioned including these in your job description. So it's important to include reporting lines and working relationships in the job description because working relationships clarify who the candidate may be working with to execute their job. Especially if you are operating under a team approach, real important to indicate that. So the person knows they're not an island, they're going to be working as a part of a team. This is something you should tell them up front so that it's not really a surprise when they actually take on the job. So talking about reporting lines does clarify the responsibilities of the position by showing who the candidate reports to and who reports to them. And it gives the candidate insight into the hierarchical structure of the organization and how their position fits into it. So salary. So at the very least, a salary structure should be given. For example, compensation is a competitive salary and bonuses. In some cases, compensation is commission-based 100%. And that gradually changes over time. So if that's the case, you should really indicate that what the progression of the salary structure is going to be. At a minimum, a range is desired by candidates because don't forget now they're judging your position. So, you know, the interview process takes a lot of effort on the candidate's part and on your part as well. And you want to make sure you're reading from the same sheet of music. So if you put the salary range up there out front, you're not wasting their time, they're not wasting your time, and you're not getting them, you know, all the way through the interview process only to find out the salary is way below what they expected. So if you can at least put a range out there, that definitely helps the candidate. So here's some sample language. Engage and support clients through the data collection process. Organize, review, and prepare the data for analysis. Support advisors and analysts' client servicing needs. Design and prepare client deliverables. Support firm-wide marketing efforts. So these are kind of sample responsibilities, duties, competencies that you want them to execute during the job. And here's some competencies sample language. So a minimum of 2 years experience in providing personal, financial, and or tax planning services or a related financial background and education. So that's a competency. And remember, as I said, the job descriptions are trending toward competencies. Ability to prepare income tax, cash flow, and education cost projections, retirement income needs and analyses, net worth statements, estate distribution plans, and risk management or insurance reviews. See, here is where you can indicate CFP. CFP and or CPA licensee or candidate is desired. So remember, it's not a job title, but it could be a competency. Strong Excel skills or experience with Microsoft Office products. Intermediate level of understanding of traditional investment vehicles, for example, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, preferred. excellent written and verbal communication skills. So really, the more specific you can be, the more competencies you can list, the better off you're going to be in terms of finding the exact fit between you and the potential job seeker. Excellent organizational skills. So here's another statement of purpose that I chose from one of our past employers that had posted. The ideal candidate is an individual who is detail-oriented, resourceful, seeks intellectual challenges, desires to develop long-term relationships with clients, and wants to grow into a leadership role with a successful wealth management firm. So again, this is very high level. It's not really, it's sort of competency-based in a way. It's sort of personal characteristics of the potential employee. But it is very much of a 60,000-foot statement. So I just wanted to give you a couple of resources that the Career Center has to offer. I do job description coaching, so if you want to send me your job description in advance, I can take a look at it, I can critique it, I can offer suggestions. Now I know a lot of you work in environments where your corporate headquarters or corporate HR develops these job descriptions, so there may not be a lot of wiggle room. But for those of you who are creating your own job description and want a little bit of coaching on that, I can certainly help you out. And again, you know, from experience, I've learned that the job description doesn't matter. And potential job seekers are really judging whether or not they want to apply to the position based on what they've read in that job description. So if you're not getting a lot of hits on your position, it could be your job description. Currently, we're offering a job posting special, so $100 off any job posting package, which includes our financial job exchange package, which puts you out to larger databases of candidates until the end of January. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and take a couple questions. And just to reiterate, the webinar is being recorded. So if you had to jump off, if you have to jump off now, or if you know of a colleague that couldn't have made it today but wants to view the webinar later, the webinar will be recorded and will be up on the website within a week or so. So I encourage you to reach out to me. I'm available to take your call, your email. You can forward me your job description. I can take a look at it. We can talk about recruiting strategies and what has worked with other employers, other of our successful employers. And I'd encourage you to, to review the slides at some later date and post your job with us. Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone, for participating in this afternoon's webinar, and look forward in 2017 to more employer-focused webinars. So view your email for those. Thank you very much, and have a great day.